3025.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
I cannot stress the urgency enough.
Your shot to win $1,000 is right now. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Win.
Win.
That's win. Enter it now.
You heard the man. Well, what are you waiting for? FoxPHLGambler.com right now. $1,000 up for grabs. Go and get it.
My Lord.
Up and running here on a beautiful day in the Delaware Valley, Thursday afternoon. A lot to get to, boys and girls. You know what time it is. NFL Draft live tonight, round 1. Top 10 pick. You mean to tell me Shedeur Sanders, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football all season long, is not a top? Deion's kid. The guy I watched at Colorado for the past 2 seasons. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to clutch our pearls as general managers in the NFL and say, no, not this guy, but J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr. The list goes on year after year after year after year after year that quarterbacks are forced into a selection that they have no business being selected at. But Shedeur Sanders is where we're drawing the line? What am I missing? How is he not worth a shot as far as being a quarterback for your franchise? And oh, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're picking in the top 10, you're probably a terrible franchise. But you got everything figured out when it comes to the most important position in sports. We're going to pass on Shedeur. I'm calling BS. I say 3 quarterbacks are selected in the first round. I know you look at me as Shawnee Insider over here. I get it. I feel it. Like, what does this guy know what he's talking about? But come on. First of all, did I or did I not have Cam Ward going number 1 overall months ago?
It's true. It's true.
All right. So we'll start and we'll end there. Good afternoon, Daily Ticket. Sam Oshtry from The Score. That's Sean Barnard from DraftKings Sportsbook. We got a lot to get to. We're going to have some fun today. There's a lot of juice in the building, a lot of jam, as Peter Laviolette once said. Sean, do you want to take the baton on that one?
Yeah, as far as the Shedeur Sanders conversation, I'll just point back at you. It takes one team. It takes one team to mix things up, change things. And I do think it's being talked about as a much more just absolute reality that this guy's going to drop. Let's see what happens when these guys get on the clock. Again, it takes one team to make that call. So I'm with you with that door being open. Desperate teams make desperate decisions. I could certainly see any of these organizations going that direction. So I'm not rolling it out.
Sam, why? Why would Shedeur Sanders fall?
There is some serious character assassination going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were saying like, whoa, I'm like, what did I miss?
No. I'm saying, and look, there's things you could point to throughout the season when he blamed his offensive line. Some, the attitude, the NIL stuff, all that, the extracurriculars off the field that obviously teams are pointing to as serious red flags. The fact that in his entire football journey, he's never not been coached by his dad. Like, that's a potential red flag. And these claims, these anonymous scouts, executives, coaches are saying that he tanked his interviews, the arrogance on him. Look, you want your quarterback to have a little arrogance to him. He needs to have that confidence and arrogance. Yeah. Sometimes that you can border that line, but you got to have some unwavering belief in yourself. So I don't really have a problem with that. My whole thing is like, you're right. It's coming in this last week. I'm not sure if it's smoke, though. Like, I don't know if it's smoke that's being put out there, because there are certain teams interested that do want to take them, and not early necessarily, but earlier than we might think. And there's a lot of character assassination going on to say, don't draft this guy, don't draft this guy. Nobody's interested. But it's such a unique situation, not only because he's Deion Sanders' son, but the fact is he could go anywhere from number 2, which I don't think he's going to go to the Browns at number 2, but anywhere from number 2 to the second round. And it's just going to be a wild night as the cameras continuously pan to Shedeur Sanders and his father, Deion.
Now, they're not going to be in Green Bay.
Oh, they're not?
No.
From home, I'm sure. I'm sure they have.
Yeah,
there'll be cameras.
We know that.
Yeah. You don't think Deion's bringing his own camera crew in there?
You think there's cameras at Deion's household tonight? Yeah, we know that that's going to be the case. I guess so it has to come in the form of a trade, does it? And I do.
Why? A pick for Shedeur?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm throwing it out there.
Steelers at number 21.
Well, top 10.
If he goes top 10, yeah.
Shedeur is going to slide to 21.
What if the Giants just take him, man? Like,
at
what
3 overall?
What if? Like,
and
but here's the thing. If the Giants or Browns are seriously interested, why not trade back and get something else of value? Because nobody's taking him.
I think that
other
could happen.
than the Steelers. It seems like the Saints, and I trust Todd McShay. There's certain people to trust, certain people not to trust. I trust Todd McShay. There's a lot of people not to trust this time of year. I trust Todd McShay. I think the Saints have zero interest in Shedeur Sanders. So I think there's no chance he goes there at number 9. So if you're the Giants or Browns, why not trade back? There's no reason to use the second or third pick on Shedeur when he'll be available anywhere before 20 or 21 when the Steelers are picking.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Ashton Jeanty is now the prized item.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
It seems like it.
I do believe that there will be a team out there trying to get up to 3 overall with the Giants so they can take Jeanty. I think that
Jeanty, because Abdul Carter seems like the obvious choice there.
He does. So
plus we talked all about Shedeur. Travis Hunter still.
He's going to.
Because what if the Giants take, and there's been not a lot of chatter about this, but what if the Giants took a Jeanty and they need more than a running back, and then later they get a Jackson Dart?
Wait,
it seems like there's interest in Jackson Dart.
20. Give me a 20 here.
I got you. Wait, can we do a Kenny Atkinson time out?
Oh my God. Is that good? You mean to tell me that the Giants, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they have Ashton Jeanty last year?
They had a better version of
a
Ashton
better
Jeanty.
version, and then this year they're going to take him?
They had to pay Saquon versus a rookie
Dude,
contract's a little different.
I would blow a gasket. That would be the funniest
But
thing
the only
possible.
reason you do that is because you think you have your franchise quarterback and you're building with him, and that would be selecting Jackson Dart later.
Okay. That's a big reach.
Yeah. But there's a lot of connections between Jackson Dart and his time at Ole Miss and Brian Dable and that entire Giants organization.
See,
So
and then when we start talking about
smoke,
and when we start talking about the Giants, we have to factor in that owner and how he is viewing things, because he has lame duck general manager and head coach, and it's his own fault.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are gone. How many games are the Giants going to win? How many games do the Giants need to win to keep these guys around?
Well, they need a Jackson Dart type, a quarterback that they've shown throughout next season they can develop. And then that would be the only reason they stick around. Because, oh, wow, we might have had our quarterback. Yeah. Look, how we didn't make the playoffs, but we made progress. He developed throughout the season.
Could be true.
Look, Russell Wilson is not going to be the answer this year.
Sure.
Oh, maybe Jameis?
Don't think so either. But play is Q.
I know I'm better than this. I know. I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes.
It'd be a great time to dial up Stephanie Smalls and see what she's feeling right now as the Giants. She's a fun Giants fan. She's a realist. Let's just put it that way.
I do wonder if you're rolling with Jameis. I feel like you got to get your hands on Travis Hunter, because at least that guy can potentially lead the league in tackles in addition to playing wide receiver.
I like that. Nice one by you on that one. Well, look, they do have Neighbors in house, which is a real deal talent. You add Travis Hunter to the mix, you got all the pieces. I don't know about that offensive line. That's still rough after what we saw last year. But, yeah, I just am losing it a little bit over the Shedeur Sanders. I don't understand why all of a sudden now is the time. Because, and I'm not trying to make him out to be the best. I think there's a case to be made that he's the best quarterback in this class. Mark Henry Jr. has him listed as the better quarterback in this class. There are multiple people that you see on television that have Shedeur ahead of Cam Ward. It is what it is. The Titans are rolling with them. I think Cam Ward's got a little bit more sizzle, a little bit more pop on the arm.
Yeah.
A little bit more with his legs, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But Shedeur is a good, solid quarterback.
But you didn't see this coming. You didn't see this character assassination coming.
Right. And to give an example of this, like one of these quotes that's making its ways around, this says, an NFC scouting director probably offered the most illuminating quote on Sanders' makeup, saying he's not a bad kid, but could be in for a culture shock when he enters the NFL locker room. Quote, when you hear all the anecdotal stories about the person, it's not that he's a bad kid. He's been so insulated. It's going to be a culture shock when he really learns how a locker room really operates and how it works inside a building. He's had so much input in the offensive game plan and who the coach is, and everything's been catered to him. When you walk into one of these buildings, no one gives a blank about that. No one cares who your dad is. You're going to have to end up fighting through some adversity. The plays aren't going to be called exactly how you want them to run. Even last year with Colorado.
Oh my, still going.
Yeah, it's leaning into all this. You get the point of it,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of these flying around.
Put your name on it. If you're going
I
to
agree.
give a paragraph about the kid, then go ahead and put your name on it.
Well,
Okay.
look, that could be a great story in a few years. If
Yeah.
this guy goes on and is a franchise quarterback and competes for Super Bowls, it could be a great story when everyone puts up these quotes on all these shows. Or they could be real and it could be a legitimate culture shock. But like, I feel like we all saw this coming with Shedeur,
Yeah.
where it's like the guy was blaming his offensive line in the middle of the season, and everybody knew that was going to be used against them. Everyone saw the arrogance. Everyone saw the what it comes with being Deion's son and the constant attention and cameras, and where those real questions are: does he care more about that, or does he care more about the game of football?
Now,
and so I'm not saying one way or the other, but we saw these questions come.
To defend him on like each of those points, and again, we're kind of doing both hands of the conversation here. The offensive line point, I do give him credit for the next week, bringing the offensive line to the press conference and kind of making a statement with that. Again, he shouldn't have said that in the first place, but I did think that was a decent way to deal with it. As far as like this air of confidence or overconfidence, I kind of think that's important to a guy, particularly a quarterback. You have to think you're the best player on every football field you walk on if you're going to be the starting caliber quarterback for an NFL team. So while you can overdo it, there's no doubt about it. I kind of think there's something to it about that's what makes Shedeur tick, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I want all of it.
Yeah.
If I'm drafting Shedeur Sanders, I want this.
Right.
I am thinking a little bit about the marketing opportunity as well. I get it. That's probably not in the best interest of a head coach, but as an owner, like that's where
Jerseys, yep.
Everything is coming to my mind. And look, Shedeur and what he did on the field, making Colorado relevant across the board. He played well. The numbers back it up.
Got murdered and got up every time.
Accuracy is there. And for teams that are desperate at that position, I just feel like it is well worth the squeeze is there. You got to get the juice. Like, it's worth it. Do it. Also, I do want to bring this up. How come every time I watch something Colorado related, Deion commands respect? Deion, as far as I'm concerned, again, I'm not in the locker room. They look like they have a lot of fun, but man, no hats, no earrings. Like, why do we have this perception about what Deion is when in fact, reality, everything I've seen so far, it's not. Well, we respect women, number one. I don't know. Like I hate to say, dude, have you heard Kirby Smart say that? That's not fair, but man, I give Deion credit. Deion credit. Also, finally on this, what's not to say that he's not coaching the team next year that Shedeur is drafted by?
Well, look, I think people could be worried about it. I don't think that's that legitimate because I don't think any owner would actually make that move except Jerry Jones.
An extension for Deion signed an extension, by the way.
But like that could be a concern if you're a general manager. If
they go all over the place.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're a general manager, if you're a coach, you're an owner, there could be a scenario where Deion's angling to take that job eventually. But I will say, I don't think it's a knock on Deion when they're talking about Shedeur. Like, he's built a legitimate culture within Colorado football. I think it's more a knock on the fact that he's always been coached by his dad. And look, yes, Deion has said he's the coach first and his dad is second when they're on the field. Well, look, it's a little bit like no one's saying about Travis Hunter. There's no red flags about Travis Hunter and the culture he's coming from Colorado. It's simply because of the father-son relationship.
It's also different than talking about my dad coaching me in soccer when Deion Sanders is one of the best football players ever in that regard.
Little
but there is a little bit of an insulation factor and a little bit of coddling when it's your father, even if he's gonna be hard on you. It's one thing, like, he'll respect. Like, Shedeur is going to respond to coaching from his dad. Do you know he's going to respond to coaching from everyone else?
Don't you get the feeling, though, the whole culture shock is a little overstated, though?
I do.
Probably. Yeah.
And also, like, Colorado, let's not forget, was a brutal football program before Deion took over.
Cares.
No, this isn't it's not it's nothing to do with Deion. This isn't like where Shedeur goes or not. I mean, maybe to a degree, but like the fact that Travis Hunter is going to go number 2 in all likelihood, it's not a reflection on Colorado's program or Deion.
All right, NFL Draft. Love to get the people involved. That Fox PHL Gambler. Of course, we're streaming on all of our platforms as well. Get involved in the conversation. Sam Oshtry from The Score, Sean Menard, DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Sean Brace. We got you till 5 o'clock. Julian Edlow is going to join us coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll talk NFL Draft with him, Patriots perspective, and, of course, all things NBA, because that's front and center for us here on The Gambler. A lot to discuss when it comes to the world of the NBA playoffs. Where do we start? Instead of diving in tonight, Detroit Pistons.
My Detroit Pistons.
Detroit.
Bad boys are back.
I'll tell you what, the Knicks are in trouble.
No, they're not.
The
Yes, they
Knicks are in
Not even close.
trouble.
Yes,
We'll go over that. However, let's just open up real quick as far as last night is concerned. Jimmy Butler goes down, had to leave the game. Pretty significant when it comes down to the odds and whether or not you have a future in Golden State. All that's got to go out the window. That team is just struggling offensively without Jimmy or Steph. It's only those two. Who else is producing for Golden State offensively in the last month?
Steph Curry, and that's it.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
Steph and Jimmy. All right. So now what's the latest? What are you reading? What are you hearing about Jimmy Butler MRI today?
Yeah, nothing super, I guess, telling as far as a report yet. I will say, watching him walk off the court last night, man, that looked like an out for multiple weeks kind of limp to me. That he went down hard. I don't want to dive into the dirty play for Amin Thompson. I've seen that. I don't think so. I think he kind of tripped into him, and it's very unfortunate that happened. But in all reality here, like, whether or not he can return is the fate of this series. The Warriors cannot beat this Rockets team without having Jimmy Butler. And we've seen it all season with Golden State, man. They have not been a good team for most of the year until Jimmy got there. And it's less about the direct impact of Jimmy and more about how everything fits together with him in the lineup. If you don't have that, I think the series is over and Houston wins it. So I'm hoping that Jimmy can return.
Sam, dogs were barking last night, but your thoughts as far as Jimmy Butler and what we saw from Houston coming away with the Game 2 victory?
No Jimmy, the Warriors are losing this series because he's that impactful, and we've seen what he's been with this Warriors team. I'm a little more optimistic because I feel like a pelvic bone is something you can come back for, and it's more about pain management. And, you know, he might miss a game, maybe two, and that could be
your nightlife might take a hit, but maybe you could play a little bit.
Exactly. Like, but it's
My Lord.
I was waiting for it. I do think that it's more of a pain management thing. So he should be able to come back at some point. Like Steph missed, I believe, a game or two with this earlier this season. It's not like a season ender unless something serious shows up. But without him, the Warriors are toast.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cooked. They have no chance. And it's because of how great he's been fitting into that system. It's not just his impact will never show up on the box score. It's who he is as a screener, as a cutter. He's such a cerebral basketball player. And that's why Draymond and Steph work together so well, because they know where each other are going to be on the floor, and their chemistry is just second to none. Jimmy came into that system and was flawless in terms of as a cerebral basketball player, making the right reads, constantly screening and their split actions, all that stuff. Jimmy's done such a great job with that group. And the replacement for him, as we saw last night, is Jonathan Kuminga, who is just not Jimmy Butler. He's not the connector Jimmy Butler is. He's not the scorer. He's not the isolation player. Jimmy Butler's not a good shooter. Jonathan Kuminga isn't even the shooter he is. Jonathan Kuminga was not good last night. There's a reason he was completely out of the rotation the last few games. Steve Kerr gave him 0 minutes until it was an emergency situation, and Jimmy Butler went out. So the Warriors are cooked if they have to go to Jonathan Kuminga for long stretches because of Jimmy's injury.
Here's Steph Curry following the game on Jimmy's injury. As Sean Barnard pointed out, Steph did have this injury. He missed how many games?
That was Sam. You said one?
It
was 1 or 2, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't that many.
Not long.
But Sean believes, playing doctor here from afar.
Watch him walk off there, man.
He did walk off, and it was very
painful.
Yeah. All right, here's what Steph Curry had to say.
Tough. I haven't seen him play yet, but Jimmy's going for a rebound and comes down. I've had that happen a couple of times. You know exactly what it is. It's just a matter of how bad it was, and I don't know, but it definitely changed the dynamic of our offense. It's even him and BP played a combined 21 minutes, so it's kind of it shuffled all the rotations a little bit, and we put up a good fight.
All right. Well, again, the Warriors and Rockets tied up at 1 game apiece, which is, look, nobody wants to see Jimmy injured. Please get back because the NBA playoffs have been awesome so far. The dogs were barking, though, last night. Both underdogs, big double-digit underdogs, covered in the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. 2 games apiece, of course, in favor of the Magic, or of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. No surprise there. Quickly on this, though, Warriors minus 180 to win the series. Now, it's going back to Golden State, understood. But no Jimmy Butler. The Rockets at plus 150. Sean Barnard, 30 seconds. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I would fully wait on the Jimmy Butler outlook for this. If Jimmy is even to miss a couple games, I think Houston takes it. That I just think Golden State, as great as Steph Curry is, and he still is that guy, Steph Curry, and he probably has a game, maybe even 2 games that he can carry this Warriors team to a win, but they're so limited. And let's not forget, this Rockets team is equipped to sort of contain Steph Curry in a way most teams are not. Like having the Amin Thompsons, the Dylan Brooks, there's just variety of athletic, versatile wing defenders you can toss his way. It's troublesome. They held him to 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting in a regular season matchup here. When you don't have a guy like Jimmy to be able to slow things down, attack in isolation, get to the free throw line, I just think Golden State's a little bit short-sighted on the offensive side of things. So if Jimmy's not returning, I think Houston absolutely wins the series.
Sam, same question.
I think the line says that they expect Jimmy Butler to return.
I agree.
And that's why the Warriors remain favored. If he misses only one game, I'm confident the Warriors are still going to win this series.
Okay.
We saw a phenomenal performance from Jalen Green last night.
Yes.
And he was probably out of every player who played a game one in this playoffs, Jalen Green was probably the worst.
Yeah.
He was awful in game one. Comes back, has maybe the best performance of his career considering the circumstance, 38 points.
Had to have it.
Exactly. 8 for 18 shooting from 3. That's not going to continue.
No.
The whole Jalen Green experience is he's so inconsistent and he's really inefficient. He had one of the worst effective field goal percentages in the entire NBA this year. He's just not an efficient player. He's not going to consistently produce. And it was great that he showed that last night. He's a high flyer. He's athletic. He can create his own shots, but he's not consistent enough to do that throughout a 7-game series. I think Jimmy Butler returns at some point, and the Warriors take this, even if it pushes to 7.
All right, let's do some housekeeping here via the YouTube chat. Love it. Get involved in the conversation. Jaron checking in with the great Stephen A. biopic there. Eagles going to be trembling when the Giants get Dart and Carter.
Oh, look out.
Yeah.
Look out. Super Bowl champion Eagles.
Yeah, Jaron, we'll have some fun with that. We'll get back to the NFL conversation a little bit later in the program. Sam on X, he's waiting. He wants the Knicks talk. Says Sean Barnard has been drinking the haterade all week.
True. Live off it.
He says Jalen Brunson to score 45 tonight, plus 1,700. That's not a 45.
He had 34 and 37.
Correct.
It's less than 45.
But they that's true. That's true. So you're donating. All right. And then he goes too far here. Sam on X. Quote, but I thought Steph is the greatest point guard of all time. You're telling me he can't lead his team against an inexperienced Rockets team? 20 points last night? Look, Jimmy Butler goes down in the middle of the game. Everything is just a shock, right? You heard what Steph had to say. It changes everything from the sets to the expectations, the placement, so on and so forth. So I can understand why they came out on the short end of the stick last night, specifically Steph Curry. Steph has proved his worth, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how could you second guess Steph Curry right now?
And Rockets already had a pretty notable lead at that point. Like, it was pretty much a double-digit lead from start to finish in that game. So you're kind of asking for a comeback effort. As far as like the larger conversation here, I also want to make clear, like, this Rockets team is bigger and tougher than Golden State, man. Like, they out-rebounded them by 16 in the game that Golden State did win in the first game. Houston out-rebounding 22 offensive rebounds that they produced. You're going to be able to lean more into that style. And Jimmy is a guy that, even while being a bit undersized, does have a little bit resistance on the boards, and being a tough guy that can throw a body around, you take that off the table. As Sam pointed out, Jonathan Kuminga is not Jimmy Butler, and I do think it is like crystal clear that Steve Kerr like hates Jonathan Kuminga at this point. So I just don't
think they couldn't get anything of value for him at the deadline, where they knew they were done with him. This relationship is over. He's a restricted free agent. They will not sign any type of offer sheet for Jonathan Kuminga. The fact that you couldn't get anything at the deadline, knowing this was coming down the pipes, knowing you were getting Jimmy Butler, and there were similar players where there's too much non-shooting on the floor. If those two played together with Draymond Green, I don't know how that happens, but you're right. That relationship is over. Julian
Edlow will be joining us from DraftKings Sportsbook coming up at 3:30. Find out where all the money is heading tonight as far as NBA playoffs are concerned. 3 more games tonight, including the New York Knicks, a 1.5 favorite, 216.5. Sean Barnard is the wrong team favorite tonight.
It is. The wrong team is favored, but take advantage of it. Lay the money. Detroit, stand up.
My Lord.
All right, that was an easy one. We will definitely dive deeper into this conversation when it comes to the Knicks and Pistons. It's been a focal point for us here as far as the Gambler Gang is concerned. We all know that Sean Barnard is a diehard New York Knicks hater. We love it. We respect it. Truther. I like that even better. Yes. It's a team filled with role players. Is that what you say?
Role player super team.
Role player super team. All right. And then what did you say about Jalen Brunson on Monday?
Which part? That he can't be the best player on a championship team?
What is he? He called him not an ethical hooper.
Ethical hooper.
That's what Knicks fans love to label him, an ethical hooper.
I'll defend Jalen Brunson Trust me, I'll be
How?
doing it
How?
all.
How
No,
after
I'm
last game?
saying I will be doing it all the next hour defending Jalen
Yes.
Brunson. I won't try to claim that he's some ethical hooper.
Thank you.
But the best players aren't. The best players
Agreed,
aren't. He's
agreed.
that smarter player, which makes him that great.
I
Nice.
agree. My issue with it is that he continually gets thrown in this loop of he does things the right way. He plays the game the right way. When he does it,
I don't see that really. Like,
does
I don't really see people saying that. He's obviously
he's prime James Harden foul baiting bad.
So is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes.
So is Joel Embiid.
But
no
so
one-
do the best players in the league. You don't want to know why? Because they manipulate the refs because they're brilliant players and they're brilliant athletes.
And the refs let him get away with
Correct.
it too.
It's
as
the
well.
refs.
still a
It's a
referee
conversation about the refs, not a
Agreed.
conversation about Jalen Brunson.
Totally agree.
But no one stands up here and says Joel Embiid does not foul bait. Trae Young does not
Who's
foul
saying
bait.
that about Jalen Brunson? I think Knicks fans mostly acknowledge the fact.
No,
I don't think so at all.
No way.
I don't think
I
so.
know a lot of Knicks fans.
Not
trust
until
me.
recently.
Yeah, I think they've recently
Tides have
acknowledged.
started to turn. I
Because the
will say
national
that.
media has really been giving
That's
Jalen
the
Brunson a hard time.
first time that I've ever felt it, that I've ever seen it as such.
It was egregious in game 2. Like as egregious
But
as
it's
I've seen.
been-
There also was a time when he was bringing the ball up the court. I forget exactly. Maybe a SAR before he fouled out that he got collarbone. Should have been a 15-yard penalty and a first down, and they didn't even call it. Like it was a physical game. There's a lot they didn't call too on Jalen Brunson, even though he was foul baited.
All right. And one more from Sam here. Says, you have to respect Sean's commitment to the hate. Never bad blood here. We love you. I may be just being nice because the Mets swept the Phillies, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, we're not talking about the Titans at this point in time there, Sam. We appreciate it, though. Great stuff. And trying to get my daughter into SpongeBob. I figured that's one that we can sit and watch. And there's
Love
a
SpongeBob.
there's a
That's still
SpongeBob
running?
movie
That's
out.
still running.
Yeah, there's a movie that just came out too. Like, and I was trying to watch it with her.
You're like saying that to us like we should know that we should have seen the SpongeBob movie.
I do like SpongeBob.
All right.
Take an edible, sit your daughter
There it
down,
is.
watch some SpongeBob.
All right, Julian Edlow is joining us on the other side. DraftKings Sportsbook's own. We'll talk about all 3 games coming up here as far as the NBA playoffs are concerned. We got Knicks and Pistons getting the party started. Knicks 1.5 favorite, 216.5. OKC and Memphis 9.5 road favorites for Oklahoma City. No surprise there. And the Nuggets and Clippers, the first game at the brand new Intuit Dome out there in LA, where the Clippers are 5.5 point favorites. 212.5, man. NBA basketball has been fantastic. Let's talk more about it with Julian Edlow on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry. I'm Sean Brace. More of this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're jet up 95 northbound Vine Expressway up to Bridge, southbound heavy Cottman to Bridge, westbound Schuylkill heavy University Teacher Board, bumper to bumper Boulevard to Belmont, eastbound backed up Montgomery Drive to south, Vine Expressway westbound heavy 95 to the Schuylkill. Ayatollah total traffic.
It's Car Care Month, and Summit Racing has what you need for bumper-to-bumper care. Revive the interior, exterior, underhood, and more. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 4th, 2025.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
Oh, yeah, baby. Gerhardt's has free local delivery and assembly on all Weber grills, $5.99 and up. All you backyard barbecue behemoths, you better get your Kiss the Brisket Boss bibs on now because it's officially grilling season at Gerhardt's Appliances. Gerhardt's Appliances, helping Philly get fired up for summer since 1945. And don't forget, free local delivery and assembly on all Weber grills, $5.99 and up, only at Gerhardt's.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today by calling 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
A landscaping pro's workday is measured in power per hour. More work in less time. That's why the pros prefer Echo outdoor power equipment. Echo's best-in-class chainsaws, blowers, and string trimmers make light work out of the toughest work days. It's time your crew upgraded to Echo Power. Experience Echo Power for yourself at Laurel Lawn Mower in Blackwood, New Jersey. Visit laurellawn.com or call 858-2770 to learn more. Go power on and on.
Right now, the Home Depot has spring deals under $20. So no matter what you're working on, the deals are blooming at the Home Depot with savings on plants, flowers, soil, and more. Then light up your outdoor space with Hampton-based string lights. Was $34.97, now only $19.99. And get the grill going with 2 16-pound bags of Kingsford charcoal. Was $19.98, now only $17.88. Don't miss spring deals under $20 now through May 7th at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, valid on select items only.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Beautiful day in the Delaware Valley, and it's looking like it's just as nice up north. Let's head up the way, up the coast. The Boston, greater Boston area. Joining us right now, represent the squad from DraftKings Sportsbook. I believe he's home. Looks like he's out on that beautiful back deck, catching some sunshine, getting that vitamin D, I believe it is, right? Yep. Julian Edlow joining us right now. Julian?
Yeah, front deck, actually. Let me know if we have any issues.
Not at all.
Wise, but
actually, let me cut you up because we've done a hit before in the backyard, and it was windy as hell when you joined me that one time.
Yeah, really windy neighborhood, particularly in the back. So I did you guys a favor here, came to the front where there's more sun today. What have I been coming on this show? What, 6 years? We're casual now. I can hop on from my deck.
You're damn right, man. We'll take you wherever we can get you, Julian. That's all. You're providing
Maybe
great
even
insight.
In studio one time. Maybe we'll even meet.
Come on down to Philly.
Yeah, or we can just bring it to Vegas, as we've been trying to make happen over the years.
Well,
but
one day that'll line up.
One day, exactly. All right, Julian, we do have a lot to discuss with you. I know I often throw that out there, but it's the truth. Today is crazy. And, of course, the NBA playoffs have been awesome from start to where we're at right now. We got 3 more games. We got injuries that are going to have a huge impact moving forward, potentially. And we do have the NFL draft to break down, and something that we did jab at last week about the Patriots and Genty interest and so on and so forth. The Patriots could be the key to absolute anarchy in the first round. We will save the NFL draft conversation because I want to dive right in to the numbers that matter the most. And for everybody out there, we can't wager on the NFL draft essentially in Pennsylvania. I was going to bring it up with Governor Shapiro yesterday. Humble brag. I did
How
a
far
hit
are you
with,
from Jersey?
Not that far.
All right.
I can make a trip over there across the bridge. You're right. But it is what it is. I'm okay with wagering on what I can here in PA until they make that change. It would be nice, though, to wager on college props. That's the only thing I really do miss. I wish I can get down with college props.
Got that in Jersey, too.
You got that in Jersey, yeah. Well, you can't wager on Rutgers in Jersey. How about that?
That's
I could
true.
do that here.
That is true.
All right. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs. We did discuss Jimmy Butler and whether or not, look, if he can't go, you can get the Warriors, or right now the Rockets, at plus 150 on DraftKings Sportsbook, Julian. Where are you at when it comes to that conversation? Does Jimmy Butler need to miss multiple games for you to get down with that? What is your thoughts right now with the impact that Butler injury could have on the series, and, of course, what we saw last night in Game 2?
Yeah, the Butler injury would have a huge impact because we saw that rotation kind of come undone right away. And part of that was Podziemski not being healthy as well. And that was food poisoning. So he should be good for the next game, obviously. So you get a piece back there. You're not quite as thin. But if Butler misses time, that's big. I mean, we see the numbers. They were a coin flip team to make the postseason without him, and they're like third, fourth favorites entering the postseason to win the West, win it all with it. That's a big piece. So I'm not really budging from my pre-series handicap here, which was unfortunately to take Houston to win game 1 in the series at that big price. And of course, they, 90s style game. They shoot under 40% from the field, 20% from 3, 55% from the free throw line. If they just made their free throws, they're in the game. But yeah, I liked him in game 2, came back with him in game 2, and like where we're at. I have the plus game and a half, which I think is probably the best way. Like, you'll remember that Kings series with the Warriors a couple years ago where the Kings took them right to the brink, and then it came to a game 7 on the road and the Warriors slaughtered them. So, like, maybe these young Rockets lights get a little too bright in a game 7. But still, I think taking that game and a half, which is a little juicier now with Houston, particularly with Butler's status up in the air, this should probably be another split in Golden State, and definitely lean Houston's way in game 3. You want to go after that probably earlier, whether Butler's out or dinged up, because that was a pretty good fall, and he was not walking well to the locker room.
Yeah. Anything from you boys on the game from Golden State and Houston before we get over to the Knicks and Pistons?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can take too much from last night. Like, it is truly down to if Jimmy Butler comes back. It is a night and day difference for what this Golden State team looks like. So I think until we have more info on that, we can move on.
On the other side, what I say, Jonathan Kuminga is not the guy you want in rotation. Steve Kerr knows that. That's why he was out of the rotation until emergency situation occurred. And that's not the guy you want moving forward. So Jimmy's got to be back for this to be a series.
All right, Julian, let's get on over to tonight's games. And we're split over here. These boys are going head to head. I was believing somewhat in Detroit before the series, but if you made me make a selection, there's no way I was pointing that Detroit was going to win that series. 2 games in, no. The Knicks are in trouble. I think the Knicks are in trouble. Where do you stand in this conversation? I really do believe that the Detroit Pistons are going to win this series. It looked like they're more physical. They're more hungry. They're playing looser. And right now, New York is trying to find some answers offensively. And I don't know if Tibbs is the guy. I really don't. Could it be a quick fix? They start spreading the ball around? Maybe. But I'm willing to back the Pistons here. I know that they're a slight dog tonight. Let's talk about the series itself. What do you stand on that conversation, Julian?
Yeah. Again, I mean, when we last spoke pre-series, I thought this would be a series that Detroit would make it a series. Ultimately picked the Knicks, but the minus 400 or steeper was too much. So that's what landed me on the over 5.5 games, which is in a good spot, getting the split in New York. At this point, I don't really have a series play. I think it's now more appropriately priced with everybody realizing that Detroit can hang here. That said, I think tonight is the buy low spot on the Knicks. I played Knicks money line tonight. You get embarrassed at home. You really got outplayed for 7 out of 8 quarters. Yep. And you're in this, you're split here because of a 21-0 run. If you don't get that run, you're down 2-0 after 2 games at MSG. I think this is a game that the Knicks can come alive a little bit. They've been a good road team. Detroit has not been as great at home, particularly, priced in this short favorite to short underdog range. I think this is the game that you get the Knicks' best effort off the loss, that they make some adjustments, that Detroit's kind of feeling themselves a little bit here, not just coming off the win, but saying, hey, we could be up 2-0 here. I think this is a good spot for the Knicks to get one and likely come back with the Pistons in game 4, but we'll see.
Yeah, I did see some people saying that this is the spot as far as buy low is concerned on the Knicks, and I would happen to agree with that thought process. But man, this Pistons team, and I don't know if you can count on Tobias Harris being the guy he was in games 1 and 2 as you move on to game 3. I thought I knew what Tobias Harris was, but he's been playing well. They're not backing down. They're playing loose. They're playing with house money, and now they're back at home for game 3. It's been a great series. The big picture question, as you brought up game 1, Julian, is what are we saying if the Knicks are down 0-2 at this point in time?
Yeah, we're saying that they are in a lot of trouble, and we're saying that Detroit wins the series for sure. I would still maybe consider betting them in game 3. They'd probably be an underdog, and be an even nicer price. But yeah, I think, some series I'm looking ahead and feel a certain way. This one I'm looking more a game at a time, and this one feels like New York.
Yeah, my skepticism for New York here is I don't think it is just
skepticism or hate.
A little bit of both, Boiled, and I won't lie, but I don't think it is flip the switch fixes here. Like, I think there's genuine offensive issues that they do have. Like, so far through 2 games, Jalen Brunson has passed the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns 12 total times. They're playing this isocentric offense that Jalen Brunson is acting like he's 2001 Allen Iverson. And this team was built to go all in to have this core, and they're not utilizing these guys. Mikal Bridges, there aren't set run for OG Anunoby has not been his co-star the way that things are designed. And Karl-Anthony Towns is too talented offensively to not utilize that, especially when there are defensive concerns. So I don't think it is like a quick fix thing. And I also kind of think for the Pistons angle here, they got their wake-up call. That collapse in the fourth quarter in game 1, that's when we saw the youth. They learned from that. They did not let their foot off the gas in game 2. And I think that carries over. As far as like the home crowd conversation, sure, the regular season record, there's concerns. I think we got to throw that out the window too, because this is the first playoff atmosphere that this fan base has had in like 15 years, the first time that they won.
Yeah.
So I think it is going to be a special energy in that building tonight, and I don't think the team lets them down.
Yeah, I'm obviously on the other side. We talk about
these boys have been arguing, Julian. So welcome to the fight here.
When you talk about Jalen, it's all been Jalen Brunson. It's a very uncreative, unimaginative offense, and that a lot of blame goes to Thibs for that. Yes. But almost 95% of Cade's so a lot of that offensive burden has also been on Cade. And when it comes down to Knicks versus Pistons, the supporting cast, nobody showed up in that second half, and you can blame Brunson, you can blame Thibs, but I trust their 2 through 5 way more than I trust the Pistons 2 through 5. And OG Anunoby is a phenomenal on-ball defender. His physicality, defensive intensity was not there in game 2. They did a poor job navigating screens. They're going to have a different plan. I just trust the Knicks 2 through 5 more. And look, I'm not really concerned about home court. I've said this for a while. I do not care about home court in the playoffs at all. It means nothing to me.
Really?
Nothing.
Not even from New York's perspective? Because that place was rocking.
I was there at game 1. It was rocking for sure, and it definitely contributed to that 21-0 run. Just as a principle, it's not home court doesn't do it for me. 8 of the last game 7s have been won by the road team.
Well, damn. When you're throwing stats out like that, I don't have anything to throw your way.
I hate the home court conversation.
Julian, to put a bow on the Knicks discussion for you tonight?
Not much of a bow. It's not a nearly as confident of a series or game as we've had throughout this postseason. It's more of just a numbers thing and buying low on the Knicks and trusting that they can't be so hard-headed that there's not going to be some type of adjustments or better play. I would assume, I guess the bow is, I assume we're going to see a better game from Karl-Anthony Towns because there will be a point to make Karl-Anthony Towns more involved in the game.
Props? Should we be looking at Karl-Anthony Towns props tonight?
Anything? We can look there. I haven't gone there yet, but I would guess this is again, just like the Knicks, a good buy low on cap.
All right. Karl-Anthony Towns currently on DraftKings Sportsbook, 25 plus at plus 120. We are looking at some 3-pointers made here. Where are we at with Karl-Anthony Towns as far as 3-pointers made, boys?
I want to see him get him in the paint.
That's
where he should be getting him.
Especially because what they've been doing is they put Tobias Harris on him because they put Jalen
Tobias
Duran.
D'd him
yeah,
up.
who's clamping him.
I don't agree with that at all.
There was multiple.
They threw a lot of doubles his way. I don't think Tobias was clamping up and singing coverage.
My guy Tobias Harris chirping a little bit.
They put Jalen Duran on Josh Hart because that's it just makes sense for the Knicks. That's why the Pistons. So I think like I said, I want to see Karl-Anthony Towns.
All right, 25.5. Should we be looking at that maybe on our same game?
I would say
no.
I just don't like, as far as like the stubbornness conversation. Like Tom Thibodeau is not a guy that I think is going to have a change of heart going into this playoff.
What about
series.
Brunson under points? Because I think we're going to see him shoot the ball less and have less usage rate in the offense because he said it. He even acknowledged himself this morning as shooting around.
Scores 30, man.
I agree, but he acknowledged himself as shoot around that he needs to be off the ball more and shouldn't be taking up the court and be that much of a high usage guy. So maybe his under point something to look at.
Malik Beasley threes is my favorite prop tonight. Over 3.5 there. I do think we know the role players play better at home conversation. He shot 1 of 8 from 3 last game. He did shoot 6 from 12 in game 1. And I do think that he's going to be fired up, ready to roll, and they're going to create looks for him. So looking at a prop, that is my favorite direction, is Malik Beasley over 3.5 threes.
Malik Beasley, Julian Edlow. He does like the fire.
Yeah, I don't mind that. He's bounced back well in a lot of it. That's a prop that I played a lot during the season. And when he has a poor shooting night, he generally bounces back well. So at home, you're going to need probably more than 6. He shot 8. Yeah, 8 looks. You want ideally 10, but he should get him.
All right. Let's get on over to another game that has a lot of attention, and rightfully so. And of course, we're talking about the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. First game at the Intuit Dome out there in LA, playoff history for the Clippers there. Man, what a series it's been so far. But I guess the question that I would have for you to start, Julian, is this. If the Clippers don't get that type of performance from Kawhi Leonard, or should we be expecting that type of performance from Kawhi Leonard? Because he is as good as advertised right now. He is the Kawhi of old. He is that Jalen Brunson where he wakes up and he's going to get you 30. But he didn't get you 30 in game 1, and you lost. So if they don't get that type of production from Kawhi tonight, is it, in your mind, a Denver Nugget plus 5.5 play? Or do you like the Clippers at home tonight minus 5.5?
Yeah, this is an interesting series. And again, I'm bitter with my plus 340 Clippers game 1 and series double result because they had game 1 and they gave it away.
Yes, they did.
And lose it in overtime ultimately. Heroic cover. Thank you, Norm Powell, for the last second 3. But you could argue the Clippers should have probably won game 1 if they don't come undone there. You could argue Denver would have won game 2 if Kawhi wasn't like near perfect. And here we would be at 1-1 anyway. So I think we're at the right place with it being a tied series. But now I think shifting to LA, I do think that this is one where I don't know if home court matters as much, but not being at home for Denver is going to matter because beyond Jokic, a little bit of Murray, but I don't trust the rest of that roster very much. So I could see Denver really struggling in this game outside of Jokic. And Kawhi won't be, we don't think, maybe he will be, he can be, but I'm not going to expect another 39 points on whatever that was, 18 shots or whatever. I don't think he's going to be that good, but Harden didn't play well. He should shoot better in this game. And the rest of that Clippers depth, I expect to play well. So if Kawhi can give us like 70% of Jokic or something like that to match that output, I think the rest of the Clippers are going to give far more than the Nuggets. I do like the Clippers in this one. Might lay some points. I got them in some money line parlays. But I think we're looking at the Clippers taking a 2-1 lead here.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, of course, we know what Denver has, championship mentality. And like if somebody wanted to tell me that 5.5 is too many, I can't argue that. But I do love the Clippers here. I do. I think the Clippers are going to win game 3. I think the Clippers are going to win this series. And I'm with you as far as game 1 was concerned. That was a tough beat. As I was on where the hell was I? I was watching that. Oh, I had my kid's quick ball game, and I'm running around with my phone in my hand. It goes to overtime. It was the best thing for us. And then, of course, they come up short.
You said that earlier. What is quick ball?
Quick ball is right before T-ball. My daughter's 5 years old, and it's literally like they teach the game of baseball running. It's like station to station. There's no T.
Oh, there's no even hit.
No, yeah, it's like it's little soft foam ball, bats, and there's like 5 different stations that you teach the kid in an hour, and you play 1 inning.
Gotcha.
Play. Glad
I don't have kids.
You have quick ball up there, Julian?
No quick ball here. We've got the T-ball set in the backyard. More into soccer right now with basketball on the horizon. We're getting there.
Ooh,
nice. My son's 5. We're not quite there, but
yeah,
we're working on it.
Yeah, soccer is it's slowly appealing to my daughter. She's asking me to go kick the ball in the backyard. I'm like, yeah, let's go. All right, and then to put a bow on the Nuggets and Clippers series, Sean Bernard, Sam, here to add anything here?
Yeah, do you want to lead off?
No, go ahead.
I mean, I was just going to say for the Denver Nuggets conversation, we know that this is kind of so much on Jokic's plate, and I just want to kind of express a little bit of like what there's been a little non-Jokic stuff going down, stuff like him forgetting the shot clock, some of like missing 2 free throws at the end of game 1, which they ultimately went on to win. It's been a little bit of a strange Nikola Jokic series to me. So
I guess, do you guys have any level of concern
that is the case because there's so much on his plate? And I really haven't seen him kind of, I guess, think the game the way he hasn't in these past couple games.
Not at all. Okay.
Well, Julian?
I would give him the benefit of the doubt that the 2 missed free throws were 2 missed free throws, and I think he'll be fine. Everybody else, I am worried about.
Sure, I think Zubac is the best defender on him, but I'm not worried about Jokic. I mean, part of my series handicap before was why I like the Clippers was that, yes, Jokic is the best player in the series, and he's the best player in the world, but the gap between him and the level Kawhi was playing at coming into these playoffs was not that monstrous.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily expect Kawhi to do what he did in game 2, but I knew he was playing at an elite level, and so that's why I like the Clippers, and I'm with Julian. I like the Clippers tonight. I will say, whatever happens in this series, I don't give the Nuggets a chance against the Thunder. I will seriously consider betting the Clippers as underdogs against the Thunder. So I hope the Clippers advance just to see an electric series between those two. If it's the Nuggets, I don't think they have a chance against the Thunder.
All right, Julian, I don't want to waste anybody's time on Oklahoma City and Memphis, so let's get on over to tomorrow night, and let's go ahead and open up with the Pacers and Bucks. Another interesting series here. I like the Pacers. I think the Pacers have a better team top to bottom. Dame, I thought it was unfair for people to expect old school Dame. 17.5 was on DraftKings Sportsbook in that game. I said under. I thought it was a low number, so don't get too crazy. He hits 14, so it was pretty much on point there. The Pacers have covered both games, and now they're 5-point dogs here in game 3. I know it's going to be a desperate spot, but I'm not buying what Doc Rivers is trying to sell me. I think the Pacers are the better team here. I'll take the 5. Anything for you in that one, game 3 tomorrow night?
Yeah, this is one of the spots that the first half trend has caught up, or the market, I should say, has caught up to the first half trend. Last I looked, what is it? Is it 5.5 for the game now?
5 for the game.
5 for the game. Sorry,
What
it was
was the
4.5.
first half? What was the trend?
Well, just the O2 team coming home on the first
Gotcha.
half has been an NBA spot since before I was betting. So now it's laying 4. You're not getting a great number. I think the Bucks can get a game here. I think the Bucks can show up here. I need to decide how I'm playing it. Is it going to be the double result, lead at halftime and win the game, which was like -125 range? Is it going to be first half money line parlayed tonight with like OKC money line? Because I do think OKC just has Memphis's number, and Memphis isn't going to figure that out. They might show some heart, but they're not going to win games here. Finding a way to avoid that tax that you now have to pay on the first half. I do like the first half more than the game for the Bucks. They've been a good first half team at home. Indy's struggled a little bit. Bucks first half in some form or fashion, but I don't know if I'm being stubborn, but I can't justify laying 4.5 on the half when it's 5 for the game.
Yeah, 4.5 on the game right now on DraftKings Sportsbook for the Bucks and Pacers series. Where Bucks are first half for the game 3, where Bucks are favored at home. Interesting spot. We'll see what happens in that one, of course, tomorrow night. Staying in tomorrow night, let's talk about the Lakers and the T-Wolves. Where are we at with this one? Because I thought I was pretty on point with the mission accomplished. I thought the vibe for me was that Minnesota would go into game 2 saying, you know what, we came here, we did what we needed to do. It's a little disrespectful take by me, I will say that, especially for a team that made the Western Conference Finals. First half, I was spot on with that thought process, and then the second half, JJ Redick said shots just didn't fall for the Lakers, and I can get down with it, but I thought they should have won by 40 in that game. They eked it out. They won by 9. It is what it is. A cover is a cover. Really intriguing series as they're tied up 1 game apiece right now. The series market, anybody got a series price on that one? I apologize. The series market for the Lakers right now and the T-Wolves. Lakers -115, T-Wolves -105. Wow. Anything for you on game 3 tomorrow night, Julian, or the series itself?
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota game 3. Now, I'll preface this by saying Minnesota's been a weird team in some of these series. You remember they went up 2-0 against Denver, then lost 2 in a row at home, then lost on the road, then won the game 6 on the road, then were down 20 at Denver in game 7, then came back and won that game. They've been a kind of a weird team to predict. Like when you think they're going to bounce back, they dig an even deeper hole and then they figure it out. And LeBron has historically come out slow in those game 1s. I don't love him saying it takes a game to get ready for playoff basketball because he's played more playoff basketball than anybody. He should be more ready than everybody else. Everybody else should be catching up game 1. I don't get that. but he historically doesn't do well in game ones. They got the game 2 bounce back. He could continue some of that momentum in a game 3 on the road. All that said, I am buying into Minnesota maybe learning a little bit from its lessons these last couple years and getting a game 3 at home. I think they figured some things out in the second half of that game after getting pounded in the first half, and I think things will get a little bit tougher for the Lakers. I think Minnesota will figure out how and when to use Gobert, and maybe using more of Naz Reid when needed, and then when you're playing with a lead, that's when you use Gobert on the defensive end. Like, they have some things to figure out there. I think they will, and I will lay 3 with them at home on Friday night.
Anybody want to add anything on the Lakers and T-Wolves? Because, man, what a series it is.
Yeah, I like Minnesota for game 3 as well. And one thing I'll add with it is I think we've all been pretty negative in the way we talked about Julius Randle. I've been pretty impressed with him so far this series. And you kind of see the impact of just his sheer size, strength, ability to bang in the post down there on a Lakers team which is really shorthanded. They basically have taken Jackson Hayes out of the rotation in its entirety, which I get from the Lakers' perspective here. But Randle, if you're looking involved,
Redick really only has like 7 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does not.
Rightfully so.
I can't expect him to at all. He's barely a backup in this league. I will say I'm with Julian on the fact.
Wait, hang on. Since we're talking about JJ Redick, was there anything there for you guys? Julian, I'll start with you on this one. It's funny, right? It's season 1 for JJ, and he's proved his worth, and we know what he is as far as NBA player, all that. I get it. But I don't know. LeBron took the podium, and the first thing when he was asked about JJ spouting off and being fired up, he was spazzing, I think is what the word was. He then went into, I once had a coach freshman year in high school that was the same way. It was like, if I'm JJ, you gotta take notice of that, right? Like, man, you're being compared to a freshman basketball coach.
Because LeBron played freshman basketball.
I didn't take that at all. I doubt JJ took that as a slight in anyway.
No, JJ's not, but I think you need to constructive criticism. Like, maybe the way you get your message across isn't the best. I don't think JJ did
mind the game. They used to talk about how impactful LeBron's high school coach was all the time.
It's true. Right. Well, I didn't listen to Mind the Game, so I'm sorry. All right. Anyways, I take
real quick. All I was saying was that I agree with Julian from the standpoint of this does remind me of that Nuggets Wolves series last year, where almost every single game 1 was kind of tight, and then game 7 was a 20-point lead. Of course, the Wolves storm back and win, but pretty much every game in that series was a blowout. And I kind of see that happening in this series, of course, from what we've seen the first 2 games. And I can see that trending in that direction until game 7. We just have blowouts. So it's really just whoever you like, just lay the number with these teams. And I'm on the Wolves as well in game 3. But I just can see a competitive series with a lot of uncompetitive games.
All right. Before we get it over to the NFL draft, Julian, I always like to involve ChatGPT in this day and age. And I threw in fun NBA playoff questions, and it gave me a good one. So I want to ask you this. Who's this year? This is under the category of spicy and fun. Not really either one.
Spicy and fun.
Spicy and fun. Who's this year's bubble Jamal Murray? Good pull by ChatGPT.
He came up with that all by itself, huh?
All by itself, yeah.
Who's this year's bubble Jamal Murray?
Albeit 2 games in. Anybody have an answer to it as well?
I feel like it's disrespectful to say Kawhi, but he's got
well, I feel like you got to go with a breakout guy who was known for his playoff reputation.
Şengün, maybe?
Şengün's been awesome.
Right.
I've been so impressed with him. First playoffs, he does not care about Draymond's antics.
No, saw that.
First people get or they start by the do it. He does not care at all. He's locked in and he's talking right back to Draymond. Does not affect his play. Şengün's a good pull.
Şengün. All right, we co-signed Şengün, Julian.
Şengün, Jalen Green was really good last night. I feel like going to a Rockets player is the right idea for like a breakout guy, especially if they beat the Warriors, which I don't want to say.
What about Cade? What about Cade Cunningham?
Andrew Nembhard. I like that too. He's been awesome.
Nembhard I love. I don't think he's going to break out like Jamal Murray, but he's turned himself into a great player. And I like another one that came up. It's kind of the same vein as Kate Cunningham. Banchero's been really good against the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's just they might get swept. Can you beat Bubble Jamal Murray if you play 4 games? I don't know.
Yeah,
But he's been playing great.
He's a monster. Nice dunk too yesterday. Great game.
They fought.
Yeah, they did. They did. I give him a little bit of a who's the Magic head coach?
Jamal Mosley.
Thankfully. Yeah. I again, I thought Magic should have been better all season long. They had a good season. We'll see what they can do and build Injuries did, but then what? They'll end up losing somebody though, right? Like somebody's going to go on to greener pastures from this year's team, and I don't know. Like it's down the road. Maybe Orlando can turn into something. We'll see what happens there. All right, Julian, we'll get you out of here on this one. Last week we talked about the NFL draft and how the Patriots could really shake things up. You went to a party afterwards where you heard a lot of potentially who the Patriots would be selecting at number 4 overall. I want to ask you today, as we're hours away from going live to Green Bay for round 1, will the Patriots stay put at 4? Your thoughts?
First of all, it wasn't a party. It was a fundraiser for cancer. I'm a stand-up citizen, and I deserve more credit.
What's the difference between that and a party?
Let me give you a big round of applause, Julian.
Had some great IPAs over at the Vitamin C Brewery.
Yeah,
I will admit I did have a fun time trying to help raise money for cancer.
Good for you.
So, yeah, so everything I'm hearing is that the Patriots are sticking and picking, which I don't totally get, because now we have all these trade rumors swirling at 5 with Jacksonville. All these teams want to trade up to get Genty, who, if we're just going best player in the draft, the 3 best players in the draft are Hunter, Carter, and Genty. Why, if you're the Patriots, when you can get an O-lineman anywhere from 5 to 10, would you not take the reins from Jacksonville and say, if you want Genty, you don't go to 5, you come to us at 4? I don't get why they wouldn't do that. But everything I've heard and everything I was told at my party and everything that I've heard since then is that they're not doing that. So I don't totally get it. Maybe Mike Vrabel's come in and has been a master schemer and keeping everything behind the scenes and will shock us tonight. But that is not what I'm hearing. By the way.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be Will Campbell. And, Rappaport keeps saying that Jacksonville's the team to watch for a big move. They desperately want to trade up for Travis Hunter, but that's probably not going to happen. So can they give someone the 5th pick to get Genty and take somebody like a Tyler Warren or a Tet McMillan later in the top 10? That's where the movement, at least where the smoke is in terms of the movement. But it seems like in a draft where trades are going to be really difficult because nobody wants to move up in a draft that's not loaded at the top. If that's now becoming a thing and you have the 4th pick, I don't know why you wouldn't involve yourself in that.
Interesting. And like we did talk about before you went to that great party last week, it felt like teams didn't have the thoughts of moving up. And now as we inch closer, we know that this is the time for rumors, whether there's smoke, there's fire, so on and so forth. Long-winded getting to the quarterback question that I have for you. I just find it hard to believe that now all of a sudden Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback that we're drawing the line at, that we're not going to take higher than what he should go. When year after year after year, quarterbacks are constantly selected where they don't belong. And we understand why. No reason to waste breath on that. But where do you see right now, if you had to take a guess, Shedeur Sanders, where is he getting drafted? And the big question, over 2.5 as far as quarterbacks in the first round. Where do you stand on that one, Julian?
Yeah, it's tough to get share a good bet at this stage. I've been fading Shedeur. I have some over 8.5. I have some over 10.5. I had to lay a lot of juice on those numbers. DraftKings, last I looked, he was 14.5 with minus 400 to the over. Everywhere else, he seems to be 21.5, which is the number. Obviously, you want to bet the under. That's Pittsburgh at 21 is what everybody's pointing at. I don't know. Last year blew my mind a little bit with the 6 quarterbacks in the top 12. But the under on quarterbacks taken in the first round has cashed 6 out of the last 8 years. So you say they continue to go high, and some of them do. And last year they absolutely did. But are they going to this year? I would point right to 2022 after we had a great quarterback class in 2020, great quarterback class in 2021. And then in 2022, it was Kenny Pickett at 20. Malik Willis was a guy whose draft prop I bet over 9.5, over 10.5. He went 86.
Oof.
Like, I'm not saying Shedeur is going to slide like that, but I could see Pittsburgh like passing on quarterback, and then it's only been Cam Ward so far, and the Giants are looking to come back up for a Jackson Dart, and maybe Shedeur goes later, and maybe it is 3. So like, I'm not going to say take under 2.5 quarterbacks, but I do think quarterbacks slide, and I think there's a chance we don't see another one until the 20s after Cam Ward goes.
Great insight, great breakdown, and of course it goes hand in hand with the odds right now that are currently available in New Jersey, but I'm not logged in, so I can get them right here in Pennsylvania. Jackson Dart at 24.5 plus 190 on the over, under 24.5 at minus 250. Shedeur under 14.5 plus 320, over 14.5 at minus 450. So I think you're right on point with assessment there when it comes to quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft. Julian, have you ever seen the movie Wicked?
No.
Oh, I did. And it was all right, but a lot takes place. Like, they get sucked up in this tornado. And I feel like that's what happened with us today, but that's all right. That's all right. We got through it. Great insight, great information as always, my friend. Good luck on those plays. DraftKings Sportsbook is where you can find Julian, of course, on all things socials as well. Sean Barnard as well. But be sure to get all of the content over at dknetwork.com. Julian, enjoy the draft, my friend. Good luck on those plays, and we'll catch up next week, man.
All right, sounds good. Be easy, guys.
You're the best. There he is, Julian Edlow, once again from his front stoop all the way up there in the greater Boston area.
That's right.
You know, when it comes to the odds, it often does point us in that right direction. But I feel like, man,
the draft's so hard to bet on, man.
There's so much smoke out there too, and just like one mock draft from a prominent figure will completely shift the odds.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think, who do you go to from the insider perspective? Who's the one that you're looking at from the NFL mock draft?
I love Peter Schrager.
Schrager, who just put it out a day ago.
Yes, sir, for ESPN. His first year for ESPN.
Yeah.
I think he's the man. He's a great insider, great intel. I trust him. Okay. I trust Daniel Jeremiah. I like Todd
Jeremiah.
McShay.
Yeah, McShay's my number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Henry Jr. is my number one.
Well, fair, sure. Yeah.
Besides him, obviously.
Mark, the cool thing, we got into his brain yesterday, and who knows where you're going with that. But I asked him, I said, wait, you don't wager on the NFL draft? It blew me away that this guy, who is Mr. Draft, does not wager on the draft.
Does it for the love of the game.
Yes, he breaks down these players. He's like, I can't control what other people are going to do. That's not what I want to do. He likes assessing the players and giving them grades and seeing where they go. I thought that was pretty cool. Again, you never know where you're going when you get a Mark Henry.
I'll also throw a quick shout out to Anthony DeBona, who's been on here.
Oh, Ant's the man.
Yeah, done a great job, and he's putting together a nice little tracking all the Eagles visits and all this other stuff. He sent me over a whole file today, so shout out to him. Has done a really nice job covering this.
Yeah, look, and I know it's interesting. There have been teams that draft players that they don't meet with, but I don't think it would happen all that often, right? I think you'd have to meet with the guy, and then when you get inside the brain of Howie Roseman, who spoke on that podcast from the Combine, where he said, man, we won't touch players if they got this going on. It's
interesting because that's different for every sport too. I know NBA specifically, that's kind of a strategy. The Sixers in particular, they never interviewed Jared McCain or Tyrese Maxey because that was one of those
that sounds about right.
But that Daryl Morey at least has spun it as that strategic in the way we don't want our name attached to that.
Of course.
Wait, why don't they interview those guys?
Because they don't want to show interest. They don't want it to be known that they have interest in
Of
these
course,
guys.
Morey would say that. I saw today that they're playing their preseason games over in Dubai.
That's cool, by the way.
And it's great. Yeah,
giving Cooper
trip.
Flag a international debut.
And I wanted to say, can you just play the whole season over there?
Voted one of the worst organizations in the NBA by the players.
Not surprisingly,
the Sixers were.
Yep.
Now that's interesting.
They weren't one. Well, it was they weren't one.
No, they weren't. They were like 5 or something.
I think was it still Washington one?
When did that report come out?
Yesterday.
Oh, it did. All right, we're gonna hit on that on the other side because this is the thing. When it comes to the Sixers organization, I often said, I don't care what I feel about you as far as an owner is concerned. I don't care what teams you own. I don't care about any of that nonsense. I honestly didn't give a damn if they moved the team to Camden. I really didn't. You want to do that? Go right ahead. I don't care. As long as you get the players and the players look at this organization in a different light than the fans do. Now, when we're on the same level playing field with our assessment, our thoughts on this organization, and the players feel the same way, now we got issues. We're going to find out a little bit more in the details as far as that report is concerned. All right, I maybe went a little too far. I care if they move them to Camden. All right, but come on, man. We understand how it works. Dollars and cents. Yep. Daily Ticket rolling on here. Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry. I'm Sean Brace. More for this.
Great news. The cash contest is back. The gambler wants to put some bonus bucks back in your pocket. All you have to do is keep it locked right here to the Gambler, and at the top of every hour, starting at 9 a.m., listen for the keyword and get over to our website at foxphlgambler.com and enter to win $1,000. That's 9 times a day. Be sure to set the Gambler up on your iHeartRadio app preset and tune in to win.
At DraftKings, we're all about responsible gaming. Sometimes
you got to know when to hold up.
There are no locks or sure things, so
know when to fold up.
It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
At Randall's Restaurant in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, we offer a high-quality dining experience that's upscale yet approachable, with a blend of American classics with unique flavors and a welcoming setting for any occasion. You can enjoy an elegant dinner or a casual night out. Join us this spring for outdoor deck seating with scenic views and live music, and enjoy the perfect spot for your 2025 graduation party. There's always something new to enjoy in a welcoming environment that makes you feel right at home. Visit randallslegacy.com to make your reservation today. That's randallslegacy.com.
CEOs You Should Know, brought to you by Comcast Business.
Dr. Joelle Mogerman, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Zoo. The mission of the zoo is to inspire these joyful memories and connect people with wildlife and animals to inspire conservation action so that we can make sure that animals persist and are a part of our healthy planet. The top priority is making sure that the zoo will shine for Philadelphia for 2026. That includes a new bear habitat, providing an overhead trail for our bears. And then after 2026, we want to make sure that the garden provides as much of an experience as the animals do. Being here, love that people in Philadelphia, in spite of its density, have planter boxes. So there's this affinity for nature. And I want to make sure that our local native wildlife is thriving, because when wildlife thrives, so do we. So I want the Philadelphia Zoo to lean into more local conservation as well, that engages various communities in that work to increase understanding so that wildlife and communities can thrive here in Philadelphia. The best way to check us out is through our website, philadelphiazoo.org. And then, of course, we are on all the social media channels. And our team does a great job of sharing our animal stories and telling you what's going on at the zoo.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
The next generation of football stars will be introduced tonight when the NFL draft kicks off in Green Bay. Eagles have the 32nd overall pick. Eagles wideout Jahan Dotson will become a free agent in 2026 after the team declined to pick up the fifth-year option on his rookie contract. And to baseball, where Philly southpaw Christopher Sanchez won't need an MRI after feeling tightness in his forearm during his outing against the Mets on Tuesday. I'm Scott Davidson.
That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. Offers are waiting.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Things are off to a busy start for the Thursday drive home, 95 southbound. Crawling Bartram to 320, a crash there, just moved to the shoulder. Watch for jam traffic on 95 northbound from the Vine Expressway up to Bridge. The Vine Expressway westbound backed up 95 to the Schuylkill merge. Westbound Schuylkill, Jan, University to Girard, and Boulevard to Belmont, and so Gladwood to Conshohocken, and eastbound heavy Blue Route to Belmont, and Jan Boulevard to South. Jan up on the Blue Route northbound 95 to Route 1, then crawling Schuylkill to Ridge Pike with a crash in the left lane. All right, to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
Philadelphia, Radnor, Allentown, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Michelle Ferreri, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now.
You know what this is? Here's Sean Brace on the Daily Ticket. Daily Ticket on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Let's go.
Once again, let me try to. Once again, Daily Ticket with you here. Sean Brace, Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry hanging with you on a busy day in the world of sports. NFL Draft, round 1 coming your way this evening. Who will the Eagles select, though, with the last pick in the first round? Interesting thoughts out there on the timeline. I don't really expect the Eagles to be locked into that spot. I think that Howie could potentially say, you know what? It's not a player that I like here or love. And I know that there are teams that love to trade back into the first round. So I won't be surprised. I don't think any Eagle fan will be surprised if you've been paying attention to how Howie Roseman operates when it comes to the NFL draft, that they don't even make a selection tonight.
I'm with you.
Especially when we have the quarterback conversation here, that a lot of times it tends to be that first pick in the second round. Holding that that little coin of the last pick in the first round could come in handy here.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because the Browns are the first pick in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And they need a quarterback. So if it's Jackson Dart, if Shedeur is there, if someone wants to leap them to potentially draft one of those two guys, they could with that Eagles pick.
All right. When it comes to the NFL draft, are you guys team notifications on or off? Do you like to see the pick or do you watch it on television?
I do it. I keep the noties on. I won't lie. But I get it. I appreciate it from a purist viewing experience of just kind of seeing them come in, but I can't stop myself from looking at the phone.
Yeah, the NFL draft is always during the playoffs these days. Yeah. So I don't watch a lick of the NFL draft.
You will tonight, though.
I will tonight because it'll be on a screen over in your basement.
Yes, we will be live tonight starting at 7 p.m. Knicks and Pistons. You got You got a Pistons t-shirt.
Damn
I
right.
have a Knicks sweatshirt that will be popped out later.
All right.
I was concerned it wouldn't arrive.
Excuse me?
I have a Knicks sweatshirt that will be popped out.
Oh my goodness.
Later tonight. It's probably not the greatest for my brand and reputation. I'll be rocking
Yeah.
the Knicks sweatshirt.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of Sean versus
I like that. You know who came up in a conversation yesterday? Juan Dixon.
in
Because
what
I
context?
was talking about the Detroit Pistons last time they won a playoff game. Juan Dixon was on that team.
Wow.
2008. You know who else was on that team? Rasheed Wallace.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Rasheed, that was the.
I know he played obviously for a long time at Detroit, but 08, Rasheed was still playing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Was he in the 96 draft?
That's Kobe's draft and Nash's draft. I'm not sure exactly. Definitely around that time. He played at least 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, it doesn't make. Yeah, maybe it wasn't. 95 he was. Do you know who originally Rasheed Wallace was drafted by?
I don't off the top of my head.
The Washington Bullets.
Really?
Fourth overall pick.
Do you know where Rasheed Wallace went to high school?
Simon.
Yep.
Yeah, Simon Gratz. There you go. All right, daily ticket rolling on. Rasheed Wallace trivia. I like that. Shout out Philadelphia's own.
Yeah.
And once went up to him to try and talk to him after a Sixers game. He's like, "Nope, got no time, man."
I met him. You said I got no time.
Something like that. Yeah, he's like, "Nope, not today, man." Something like that. And you know how it was post game where like family and friends hang out and the stands are packed up.
Yeah.
Like in that. It was all cool. He went over and took pictures of other people. I wasn't trying to take a picture. I just wanted to talk to him for just 1 second. I forget what it was. Maybe it was about Ben Simmons. I don't know. Whatever. And he was like, "Nope, not today." Must not like the look of me. I don't know.
I met him at a UNC game when UNC, I believe it was like 2016 maybe, or whatever year UNC went to the Final Four, one of those years, and the Elite Eights were here, and he was at that game, and I met him there. He's a nice guy when I met him.
Oh. Right.
I sometimes appreciate when you just get the direct no rather than kind of a fakeness.
I don't
or
take
clear,
offense to
I
it.
don't want to be here.
I got a good chuckle out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Rasheed Wallace, though, and I kind of like loved Sheed. Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. You know, and it would have been cool to talk to him for a second. You know, I talked to Jason Kidd about Ben Simmons for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I still go back to that conversation, the way he was talking.
What do you have to say?
Oh, he went in detail about Ben, and he was kind of like arguing with me a little bit because I eventually was right by saying like he has to be the guy that takes that shot. Like he can't be the facilitator.
Post-Hawk series?
No.
So it was like Ben Simmons was still like the guy in Philly.
Correct. Yep. And yes, this was still positive Ben days. I think it was that year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I genuinely, and this kind of like set on me while watching the last Clippers game. I feel sad watching him play basketball now, man. Like that is one of the all-time greatest wastes of potential. It's on him. There's no doubt about it. But he is such a shell of what he once was, man. And it's crazy to see like this deterioration this quickly from him.
Doesn't surprise me. He's got no love for the game.
True.
His bank account's nice though.
You know, Jake Glazer said today, he was like a new category that teams are putting on their draft board is, does he love football or not? Which you would think would have already been on the board because that's really the most important thing. It's like, do you love football? Do you love the sport? Same thing with the NBA and basketball. It's like, do you love the sport that you're about to get paid millions to play? If the answer is even a little bit no.
Who says no in a job interview?
No, nobody's saying no.
Okay.
It's that they're, when you're looking into the guy's character,
Does he love football?
You figure it out.
Well, you did have McMillan, Tet McMillan, the wide receiver, was like, "Yeah, I don't watch tape." And he was just eating, and he was doing this podcast 2 years ago, and it was like,
if you remember, that was a question about Anthony Edwards coming out.
It's true.
He was like, I don't even like basketball. I don't watch basketball. Like I prefer other sports. And people were really concerned about that, and it's worked out for him.
He glides,
dude.
He's awesome.
He is so talented. He literally glides. What is your thoughts as far as the way the Lakers are defending him? He said he's never seen it before.
It is pretty unique what they're doing. It is like he's right. It's sort of the zone variation they're throwing at him. So, I mean, for Ant specifically, like these are the moments that he's going to have to figure out that you can't just be a great athlete, an incredibly talented player. You have to be able to think the game at a high level.
With all love and respect, he was still getting to the rack.
Yeah, sure.
He still is.
One of the things I've loved about Ant's development throughout his career is when he initially saw double teams, he really struggled against that. And he was pretty open about that earlier in his career. And he's done a great job of passing out of double teams and responding to double teams. Same thing with this coverage that the Lakers threw at him when they kind of just morphed into a zone on his touches and his drives. And so I think he's going to do a good job of responding to that because that's what's great about Ant is Ant just figures out he's a really smart player.
All right. We went to break and we were discussing a recent report that the NBA Players Association put out. Am I correct on that?
No, the Athletic put it out.
The
And
Athletic.
They polled a bunch of players, about 1/3 of the league.
Okay. And could you give us? I don't have a subscription to the New York Times, so I apologize. I'm not going to be able to.
You don't have to put it like that. I have a subscription to the Athletic, not the New York Times.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I was in Wawa the other night, and I did. That's what I do. I walk over to the. All right. First of all, let me back it up. For the people that control Wawa in 2025. The fact that you don't have automatic doors on every Wawa as a mandatory requirement just irks the hell out of me. The one in Conshohocken is a nightmare. It literally is a nightmare. And it's, you know how it is. You hold the door, but it's always uncomfortable. I just want my food. I want to order and I want to go home.
Right on top of the hill, the Wawa in Conshohocken?
No, you don't go to that one.
The one I always
that's
go to.
Death Valley.
Every time I go to Conshohocken,
no, you don't go that one. No, that's Death Valley. Stay away from that one.
Well, that's the exit to like Lower Merritt.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why I'm always passing that one.
That corner is just stay away.
Yeah.
The one on Fayette, you go down. And it's just like, can we put automatic doors in? You're Wawa. I think you could spare the expense.
I might even spin this to, it's a little charming to have to do the hold the door when people are getting their coffee in the morning.
What are you,
and all that.
60? No.
The Wawas I grew up, like Lower Marion was one of the first areas to really get a bunch of Wawas, and there's a bunch of them. They're old school Wawas, so nothing even close to gas stations, no automatic doors, like the old school classic Wawa before Wawa became too mainstream and too famous, and it's not even that good now. But when it was, that's when Wawa was popping off back in the day. So I like the old school Wawa.
You know what I miss over by that direction? Lee's Hoagies.
Oh, phenomenal!
That was
right
my
by
stop.
house, yeah.
That was my stop.
Literally like 2-minute walk from my house, right around here.
Ooh, Lee's. Do you know anything about Lee's Hoagies?
I do not.
They got this Italian spread, this hot pepper mix.
They replaced it with something decent though.
They did?
A good pizza spot.
Yeah, it's good
there.
pizza. Yeah, pizza spot. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Decent. Yeah.
All right.
How did this connect to the Athletic?
Oh, that's right. So while I order my food, I go over and stand by the newspaper section in Wawa, look down, and literally over the weekend, I look at the full New York Times cover, and I'm like, this is what people want? It was anarchy every single section. I'm not talking about specifically, this is what people want in the New York Times. You know where I'm going. Political, the nonsense at the top that we continue to go through day in and day out where people are just piecemealing it together. It is just straight anarchy all the way top. I took a picture. I'll show you. Like, this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. Sorry, I digress. I did have a great conversation with Governor Josh Shapiro last night.
You did. You killed that interview.
I got choked up. I care about this country, Sam.
Interview.
You did a great job.
Thank you, guys.
And
oh, shucks.
Shapiro 2028. He's only got to fix your problem.
Too normal. That's the problem.
I told you that. I said he's too normal. That's my one concern. He's Jewish too. He won't get elected for that.
Oh.
But that's as a fellow Jew. I
Yes.
say that.
Yeah. Clear that one up. Yes.
But trust me.
Yeah.
But he's also too normal. So that's the problem.
You know,
you have to be a lunatic.
You know, it was really this day more than ever. You're right. You know what was really refreshing about that conversation quickly though? That dude knows what he's talking about when it comes to sports.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He could get that microphone right now and pick up and not. Dude, the way he was referencing the players, BG, just had a podcast
sports fan.
with fans. Yeah, like that dude, he knows what he's talking about when it comes. We were talking about the Sixers in the 80s. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Too normal. Could he? What should he do? Just go like fight someone?
No, he's gonna run for president. I hope he wins.
I know, but like, what could we do to help him? Does he just gotta just start tweeting anarchy?
Maybe we want to return to a little bit of normalcy after these 4 years.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
I mean, Obama was a normal dude. He was just a guy who loved sports too. He's a normal, down to earth guy.
And then what happened?
Hell broke
since
loose. Then, the last 12 years,
Tell me about
it's been a lot of anything but normalcy. So hopefully we can return to Governor Shapiro, who is the absolute man.
I think PA would get behind him and lead the charge,
He's
whether
a guy
it's
who
on
gets
both
stuff
sides.
done.
Yep. But hey,
it's his motto.
That's his motto.
Done
with a different word. Yeah.
I'll clip this and send it to him. He's got 3 backers. Well, we're not trying to put your vote in there, Sean. But
no, I like Shapiro.
Okay, all right, good stuff.
Well, I know. I
That's
try
as far as he'll go.
I try to not step. I try to not step in the politics water at all.
You know what? It's just so out there. It's not even politics anymore.
Sure.
It's just
I will say I know a lot of conservatives who would vote for the guy.
Aren't they tired? Like, aren't people just tired?
You're actually energized, if anything.
It's just so draining.
Just wait till Stephen A. Smith built his campaign here.
Shannon Sharp for VP. Any red flags there? Any red flags there?
As Brace collapses to the
done.
floor.
I'm done. I got a cramp. I got a cramp. I got a cramp. I got a cramp.
It's like Shannon Sharp on that Instagram live.
I got a cramp. Oh my goodness, I legit got a cramp.
Oh,
Oh my God. Oh Lord. All right, and there was new news as far as Shannon Sharp is concerned that we won't get into, but old Shay got some issues, and yeah, I swear to you, last week and everything that was coming about somebody. I told this story yesterday. Last week, I was in a meeting, and it was really important to this potential sponsor that they could entertain the idea nationally on iHeart getting involved with Shannon Sharp's podcast.
Really?
I was like, why is that?
Is that before it came out?
I didn't add. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody's lining up right now.
I mean, it is. It was a mega ginormous
That is
podcast.
true.
Since the Cat Williams interview, I mean, those numbers have been absurd. He's getting $100 million in his next year.
That's what was reported.
Was going to, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tough sledding right now for Shay, but hey, man, you make your bed, you sleep in it. All right, we'll keep it moving. Let's get back over to sports. Sorry, boys. You never know where we're going on Thursday here. Great to have Sean Barnard riding with us once again. Of course, Sam Oshtry from The Score. I am Sean Brace. All right, quickly on this, let's put a bow on the NBA conversation as far as the Sixers and that athletic. I can't believe we're just getting there now. The athletic, yes. Can you give us some of the sample questions?
Yeah. So a bunch of them. What's the best organization? The Warriors were voted the best organization behind or in front of the Thunder, Celtics, Clippers.
Does it give you a reason why the Warriors were number one?
There's a bunch of quotes from certain players, all anonymous. It says Warriors are first class. They praise Steve Kerr, the principals, how they treat their families, the other players. And then you have the worst organizations, and they have a lot of things like overrated player, which was my favorite thing to see because I've been clamoring at the fact that Tyrese Halliburton is the most overrated player in the league for a long time. And the players, which aren't always the best.
Even in these first two games?
Yeah, aren't always the best people to ask, but the players agreed. Also voted the most overrated player, Tyrese Halliburton.
Didn't Ben Simmons win that?
Can I push back on it
They know ball. The players obviously know ball. If he did.
I think the players perceive this as like who's the biggest cornball, not like who's.
Yeah, you're right. I do think they don't like Tyrese Halliburton, and they're just going to vote for who they not like. But he's also, from my perspective, he's just an overrated player.
I see where you get there. I don't think Tyrese Halliburton is the most overrated player in the NBA. I think he's a very good basketball player. He's not like a star lead of the franchise the way they have him to be. I'm in agreement with you there, but I do think like that question specifically is a little shifted to who do I not like?
Is it because of the overrated factor? Like you have to be highly viewed? Is it because he's on Team USA and viewed like? And
I mean, the guy got a Team USA spot over Jalen Brunson. He's not even on the same stratosphere as a basketball player as Jalen Brunson.
Sean,
they're not even the same stratosphere. I mean, this is legitimately Earth and Pluto over here.
We're talking
between
like
those two players.
What, 20th to 30th best player in the league?
We're talking like top 15 to like top 45. Maybe he's not the best player on his own team, Tyrese Halliburton.
You think there's 45 players in the NBA better than Halliburton?
35 to 40. Pascal Siakam is a better player than Tyrese Halliburton.
And by the way, for again, I don't want to be Mr. Defend Tyrese Halliburton because I'm certainly not all in on him. But like he knew that about the Olympics. Like he posted the picture with his medal when you get an A on the class product, you do nothing. Like I think he's a little self-aware.
Jalen Brunson would have played.
No, I don't think Jalen Brunson would have played. I mean, Jason Tatum didn't play.
Yeah.
So it was really about the vets. But it's the point of like getting a spot is a huge deal, even if you're going to play or not.
Very well.
Tyrese Halliburton is a guy. What other best player on their team, in quotation marks, can go and have performances where they score under 15 in massive spots or even consecutive spots? Okay, sure. And you could also claim those overrated. But when you're talking about the top 20 players in the league, those guys can't do that and not get criticism. Tyrese Halliburton, I get what he is as a playmaker, as a passer, as a table setter. As a scorer, he is so far below those guys. It's just he's not even on the same stratosphere.
All right, then there's my argument. Ja Morant is way more overrated than Tyrese Halliburton.
See, that's funny because I know you brought that up, and I'm like,
I think the tide's shifting on Ja Morant. I don't think he's considered this like superstar right now.
Next year, he might win that award. He might be number one on that list if he doesn't. I don't know.
But anyway, to the league's worst organization.
Yes, get to the Sixers. Sorry.
The Hornets were number one, followed by the Wizards, then the Pelicans, then the Kings, and then the Sixers. And there's really not any reasons listed in terms of quotes that have anything to do with the Sixers. They really just kind of touch on the Wizards and Hornets here. But it is interesting that they were voted the fifth worst organization.
Wow, we do have breaking news as far as Shannon Sharpe is concerned. He's stepping down from ESPN duties.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
My Lord.
See ya, Shay Shay. Yeah, I guess he didn't have much of a choice, and then I didn't even read any of the new stuff. Like I told you, I'm out on all Shannon Sharpe. Like, and I was a fan of Shannon Sharpe as a player. He's got a personality, but way too much over. We do that though. We tend to do that in this world, in this day and age. Like these people get on a microphone, all of a sudden they're like Howard Stern. We make these people you go out there and buy a $25 microphone and plug it in, and all of a sudden it's like, did you hear what they said? Like we're doing the same with Gilbert Arenas right now.
Yeah. Gilbert Arenas is like,
and he's an idiot.
Dude, look at
he's an idiot. He said he's
not the time to go.
Actually, good call. Actually, yeah. Shout out, prayers up for
I don't think.
What happened?
His son, who's a USC commit, is in a medically induced coma.
Oh
right now,
Jesus!
So
I didn't know that. What? I feel terrible now. Oh.
My Lord.
Oh, good grief.
So to shift the topic here to the same
time out. Give me a 20. I need a 20. Sorry.
You might need a full action.
Don't go anywhere more after this. No. All right. Sorry.
I used to have a basketball coach that would call timeouts. He would never say anything vocally. He would walk to the middle of the court, and it would either be just signal, just walk. The play's going on, just walk and signal whether full or half. Never say a word.
So stupid. I love the 20. All right. Sixers. Yes. Do you think this report registers down there in Camden?
I think tensions are as high as they've been in a while in the internal of the organization. It can't not be after the season. I think that this is going to be a pressure cooker season coming up. And like it should be for Daryl Morey, for Nick Nurse, for Joel Embiid, specifically for every one of these guys. So I do think things like this resonate. When you talk about Josh Harris and he gets a lot of slack from a lot of people, sometimes I think a little bit over the top.
Sure.
This is the stuff that I think does bother him specifically, that I do think at his core, while he's not as hands-on as a lot of ownership are, which to be honest, I would look at as a good thing there. Like this is what he wants. He wants to put the right people in charge and have them run. That is what ownership should do. So I do think when things like this come out, it is bothersome to him.
Sam?
Yeah, it's hard to know when you say worst organization, who to put that blame on. I think Josh Harris deserves the brunt of it. And obviously he cares more about the Commanders right now than he does the Sixers. But Daryl Morey deserves some blame. And what we know about Daryl Morey, he's not like not to bring him up, but not a Bob Myers type where he's not like a culture guy. Like he literally he's a math guy, and he's a statistics guy and a quantitative analyst type.
Bob Myers overrated, by the way.
And sure. But that's not a culture builder, and I don't think Daryl Morey necessarily brings like a culture to him. And that when I look at best or worst organizations, the word I'm thinking of is the best cultures, worst cultures in the NBA. So I think it's also easy to pin the Sixers down as some horrible organization after a disastrous season where there was injury after injury and just the worst luck possible. And of course, the whole Joel Embiid situation is at the front of everyone's mind right now. But I don't know if they're the worst organization on a level like some of these other teams. And also these other teams, it's the players' perception. I don't really think it hurts them with free agents or anything. Like they just signed Paul George, was presumably the biggest get. Obviously didn't work out in year one, but he was the biggest free agent get. And so it's like players want to play with other star players and they want to compete for championships. It doesn't really matter. Like if one season you have a down season and voters are saying this is the worst organization in sports, I don't think it's going to infect them long term. I don't think it's something to look into that much.
Yeah, that's been my pushback on a lot of even I have venom towards Josh Harris and all that other nonsense that he owns the other teams and whatever. It's like, but at the end of the day, I only care about what the players say, and if they are taken care of and they're paid and they're happy, then we have to accept that as the reality. It's factual, it's true. Listen to the players. Now this report changes everything in my mind.
Yeah,
and
I mean he's never going to be.
So when I say sell the damn team, I mean it. Sell the team.
And in an ideal world, you do have like a Mark Cuban type that cares about the team so passionately, that treats it like a fan to an extent. But the reality is that is rare, man. These guys all look at it as business ventures at the end of the day. And my perception of what is a good owner in sports is a guy who has the money, is willing to spend, which Harris has been, as evidence of last year, giving Paul George a max contract like that, giving Joel Embiid an extension, giving Tyrese Maxey his max contract there. The money is invested in this. And then you put guys in charge that know how to do their job. Say what you want about Daryl Morey. This is more of an indictment on him than like Josh Harris specifically. So I get it. Like he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think the venom's a little strong.
But what I'll say is when you look at the other results on this list, it's hard to look into this too much because number one, you have the Hornets who just have new ownership. So it's like you can't really pin them down as the worst organization because they have new ownership. They're trying to turn around. Wizards got a great new front office, in my opinion, and Michael Wagner over from the Clippers. So that's something that the Wizards are building towards. They have a plan at least. So it's hard to pin them down, even though those have been the two worst teams in the league. You have the Kings, who should be the worst organization in sports, or at least in basketball. They've been an absolute disaster. And then you have the Mavericks. Like there is no coherent argument you can make that the Sixers are a worse organization than the Dallas Mavericks. So it's like, I get the players voting on this, but the Mavericks are a worse organization. The Bulls are a worse organization. They have no plan. Also, the Knicks are pretty high up on the list. The Knicks come in at 6, 7, 8 on this list. I don't understand how the Knicks are perceived as a bad organization.
Why are they a good organization?
Well, because they have the best front office, or at least top 3 front office in the league.
You think?
What Leon Rose has done building this disastrous franchise around?
That's a quick turnaround to give him that.
Absolutely.
To give him that award.
Who's the better front office in the league?
God, that's not a question for me.
Golden State's definitely a better front office.
With Mike Dunleavy. Bob Myers built that team. What has Mike Dunleavy done? They haven't made the
brought in Jimmy Butler.
They didn't make the playoffs last year. Okay, give Jimmy Butler a massive contract for the next 2 years. Let's see.
Who's
Houston better?
Houston. I forgot
it's a good question.
But, something like that.
Yeah, but he is the owner, right? Tillman Fertitta, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good question on how we would debate it too, as far as like what we're breaking down. What's what brings us to that statement where this organization, is it just simply off of the players that they have brought in and they're winning? Is that how we judge a front office?
I mean, well, you have to consider their history, right? Like the Knicks were the worst organization, the biggest joke in basketball for 2 decades.
Definitely not arguing with, but to give them top billing though is tough. OKC.
Okay, Sam Presti's the best in the league for sure.
Boston,
but I said top 3. I'll give you Brad Stevens, sure. I said top 3.
Great tweet about the Pope and Brad Stevens. Did you see that?
No, what was it?
Somebody said something. I'm going to kill it. Paraphrase, and I think you got to reach out to Brad Stevens just to see if he's interested.
But the point that is great. Yeah. The point is when you have an organization that again was the worst, the laughing stock of the league for 2 decades, and you have someone come in and completely turn them around, turn the culture around, make 3 straight playoff appearances, get a phenomenal deal, just the best contract in the league at the time for Jalen Brunson,
and how do they do that? How do they do that? They hired his father, who's not a good human being, as an assistant head coach to lay the groundwork to be there. You're calling that just being a well-run organization?
That's not like the only reason that Jalen Brunson went to New York.
It's money and it's his dad.
Rick Brunson was already on staff with Tom Thibodeau in the past, and like Tom.
You think that's a coincidence? A couple weeks ago.
No, I'm saying years ago.
And you think it's a coincidence? A couple weeks before his son's about to be a free agent.
To do with, but Jalen Brunson was already, and him and Leon Rose have known each other since they were kids.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson, when he was a child, he knew Leon Rose. When he was a child, he knew Tom Thibodeau. Like he was going to go to that organization regardless. Rick Brunson is also just part of. I think 100%. And Rick Brunson was also just part of the family, and he and Tom Thibodeau have a close relationship, and him and Leon Rose have a close relationship. Leon Rose's first ever client as an agent was Rick Brunson. So Rick Brunson is just going to go on staff with Tom Thibodeau. By the way, he just won his state championship in Camden. That's a pretty big deal with Camden in Jersey. And then he goes and he's going to go on Tom Thibodeau's staff. I think Jalen Brunson was going there regardless. They're just doing him a favor.
Same Rick Brunson that was Temple's head coach before being fired for some off-court issues, I'll just say there, that Jalen Brunson was committed to Temple.
Was he the head coach?
I believe so.
No, I think he was going to be on staff.
Yeah,
I think he was going to be on staff.
All right,
nonetheless, Jalen Brunson was a Temple commit before that went down. I'm just pointing out Rick Brunson, not a good human being, and I don't think very many people acknowledge that.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day,
a lot of these dudes are.
I was what are we
talking about? So we talk about every time we talk about someone, should we go Anthony Edwards, great player, questionable human being? Like
in the video.
Yeah, we kind of know exactly.
In the video.
All right. Quickly on this, we're going to take a quick time out. First and foremost, though, a lot to do. Coming up on the other side, we'll get our final thoughts as far as tonight's games. We already know what's taking place with Pistons and Knicks. We will be live tonight, 7 p.m. streaming on all the Gamblers platforms. Make sure you tune in and join us. However, we'll go great with a watch party Whether you're at my house, your house, in the car, whatever it may be, Rita's. Check out ritasIce.com to find a location near you. And they got some of the new seasonal sweet treats. I can't wait to get in line over there in Conshohocken and try this new Kool-Aid Tropical Punch Ice. Oh, yeah. Once again, ritasIce.com for a location near you. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the rewards card and get hooked up so maybe you can get a nice sweet treat from Rita's for free next time out. Be cool. Eat Rita's. All right. Other side, more to get into as far as NBA playoffs tonight. 3 games. No Phillies conversation. We all needed a day off.
Yes.
We all needed to unplug. I think it's best. Hopefully they got hammered on the flight over to Chicago. I think that's probably in the best case for everybody on that team.
You see the Lawrence Taylor quote, by the way?
He said he drank 41 Coors Lights the day of the draft.
Yeah, what'd you remember from draft day? Not much. I had 41 Coors Light.
Good grief. All right, we are also going to be live from the Truist Championship. I got some details on that as far as the Gambler Gang and the Gambler with Swing It and Ding It. We'll hit on that on the other side. A lot to do, only a little time left. Sean Bedard, Sam Oshtry. I'm Sean Brace. Back at this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Busy on the Schuylkill Expressway with volume. Eastbound stop-go driving, Blue Route to Belmont and Boulevard to South. Westbound Chan University Teacher Board, then Boulevard out to Conshohocken. Vine Expressway on and off delays both ways. Schuylkill 95 northbound back to Vine Expressway to Bridge. Southbound at 70 Coppin to Bridge. Then GM Bartram at 320. The Blue Route northbound stacked up 95 to Route 1. Southbound delays Broomall to 95. 42 south, so off the wall, Whipping Creek Road. Liar to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else. And we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today by calling 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Oh, yeah. Listen here, all you backyard beef barons. You better base glaze that brisket bright and early. Stock up on your 7-spice steak sauce and slather all your savory sweet meat and meet me at the sear station. You'll be the charcoal-coated commander and chef of your cul-de-sac. It's officially grilling season here at Gerhardt's, and we've got everything you need to be the tinfoil tycoon you've always dreamt you could be.
This is your Thursday Sports Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
NBA playoffs, 3 games tonight in Detroit, Pistons and Knicks. That series tied at a game apiece. The Knicks a 1.5-point road favorite. Cade Cunningham, a young star for Detroit. His over-under total points, 28.5. And Memphis Grizzlies and the Thunder. OKC with a 2-0 series lead, and they have dominated the first 2 games. Thunder at 8.5-point road favorite. Over-under total on this one, 226.5. In Los Angeles, Clippers and the Nuggets, series tied at 1. If the Clippers didn't blow a 15-point lead in game 1, they could be up 2-0 in this series heading home. Clippers, a 4.5-point home favorite. Kawhi Leonard, over-under total points, 25.5.
New BetMGM customers can download the app today using code MINUTE to receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if they don't win their first bet. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus to wager. New customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us, Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
May I have your attention, please?
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, Philly's first daily sports gambling show.
Let us see the dough.
On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
Coming down the home stretch here on a Thursday. Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry, Sean Brace. I'm off tomorrow, boys. I'm off tomorrow.
Playing around?
It is. I'm playing around. My birthday's on Tuesday, so I'm having a wonderful birthday round tomorrow. Getting in on a Friday, a little Friday golf.
Happy early.
Thank you. Too old to be celebrating on the day of, so I'll be working on Tuesday next week. Looking forward to it. But ultimately, I'll be off tomorrow. So let's get to it as far as tonight is concerned, and maybe we could take a look at some of the numbers for tomorrow as well. For me, though, tonight, Knicks and Pistons, it starts and ends there, boys. Let's get some winning plays here as far as that is concerned. I know you guys are split on the card. Can we talk about who will be the number one point scorer in the game? Who's a player prop that we need to be firing on for our SGPs, if I will?
Yep. So to run down the list, Jalen Brunson leading the charge at over 28.5 is the number set there. Cade Cunningham, 27.5. Big jump. Karl Anthony Towns, 22.5. And then kind of in the middle parts here, 16.5 OG. Mikal Bridges, 15.5. Sam, I'm going to take it that you're riding with Jalen Brunson tonight.
Yeah, I mean, 20.5 is a low number. I could have him seeing 28.5. That's what I meant, is a low number. I could see him having a poorer game, not in terms of the scoring volume, but still scoring 30.
I don't disagree there. I'm not going to argue the under for Jalen Brunson. As I mentioned, my favorite bet would be Malik Beasley over 3.5 threes here, that I do think he comes out firing tonight, the 3-point champion on the season. That number's moved up to -130, was -120 as we were speaking earlier. I kind of like the under for Mikal Bridges. I think that's a good way to play it. 15.5 is kind of a lot based on the shot volume that he's receiving there. So do like that. I still like Cade Cunningham over 27.5 too. 43.5 is his combo. Feels a little bit high to me, but he does impact the game in a lot of ways. I have been writing plenty about his assist and rebound combos, which I do like.
That was Cade Cunningham?
Yes.
What's his PRA?
43.5.
Yeah, I'll take that under. Part of the Knicks' game plan is going to be what they really struggled on game 2 is OG was just not as good defensively in terms of screen navigation and just his physicality on Cade Cunningham.
The hamstring.
This entire offense, his hamstring's fine right now.
We'll see.
This entire offense is Cade Cunningham. I mean, everything is for him. You can say about the Knicks, but the Knicks at least have other options that I think they're going to look to tonight. The Pistons really don't in terms of guys who you want to play designs for, other than like Malik Beasley coming off pin downs, and like Tobias Harris, a catch and shoot guy. It's not other. Dennis Schroeder had a great game 2. I don't trust him that much for long term for a series. This is all Cade Cunningham, and most of his points, 95% of his baskets have been unassisted. So I think that the plan has to be doubling him more, getting the ball out of his hands. You want to see Jalen Brunson better on his hard hedges, because that's part of their defensive game plan in terms of navigating ball screens. It's hard hedging, and OG has to do a better job of his physicality and getting back onto Cade. And I think Cade has a not bad game, but inefficient game and in terms of his box score output, it's not going to be not even close to the best player on the floor. But his box score output won't be what it was in game 2.
All right, I got a little same game parlay I like. We got Cade Cunningham over 14.5 rebounds and assists, a Jalen Duren double-double, Malik Beasley over 3.5 threes, and Pistons money line at plus 800. I'm locking that in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest fade in the world.
We need to get involved, and we will. We'll put them out via socials coming up, because this game is about to tip off at 7 o'clock. But ultimately, we need to get involved as far as first basket, first quarter. have some more fun. We'll fire up DraftKings Sportsbook and really
I'm thinking Toby.
Wow.
I like Cat. I can see Cat getting an early touch.
I like. Did you see Tobias Harris talking a little chirping the Knicks a little bit earlier? He was asked. I'm gonna get the exact quote. Here it is. It says, I asked Tobias Harris, shout out to Barbara Barker covering the team, said, I asked Tobias Harris if this Knicks team had a different personality than last year's that he met in the first round of playoffs. He smirked, paused, and said, it's a different dynamic for sure. That's all I'm going to say. Calling him soft is what I took that as.
Interesting. All right. Well, once again, that game coming up at 7 o'clock. We will be live on our socials. Really looking forward to it. And, of course, the battle. And, oh, by the way, Nick McClay and Ryan Beefcoy will be hanging out as well. That's coming your way at 7 o'clock tonight. Trust me, if you're going to be hanging out at the house watching the NFL draft, we're going to have up-to-date coverage. McClay is a wizard when it comes to this sort of thing. We'll be checking in with him for every one of those picks. But the main event, full disclosure, is the Knicks versus Pistons.
Yes.
We're really excited about that. Let's get to it. Quickly on this, if I could, some housekeeping here. First of all, we will be live at the Truist Championship that is coming up the second week of May. I want to say it's like the 5th through the 10th, whatever it may be there.
It's the 8th to the 11th.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's a full week. That's what's throwing me off.
Yeah,
there's a Content Creator Classic on Wednesday. There's a Pro-Am. We will be live on Friday with Swing It and Ding It. Yes, the Truist Championship will bring top PGA Tour players like Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas to the Philadelphia Cricket Club with Sahikin course. And that is really interesting when you break that course down because they're doing some really shifting to fit a PGA Tour, of course. May 8th through the 11th. Thank you, Sam. Treat yourself to an unforgettable experience as the Michelob Ultra Club as you soak in the action for the finishing holes, all while enjoying all-inclusive beer, wine, seltzer, and soda. Enjoy a variety of fun, fan experiences, and local Philly bites. Tickets are selling fast, so secure your spot today at TruistChampionship.com. Great job there by the maestro himself, Mike Powers. God bless his heart, who's down there in Disney. Enjoy it, Powers. Enjoy it. Unplug, unwind, relax. Hang out with Disney or hang out with Mickey as I did a couple weeks ago. There's a lot to do down there. Lots to do down there. I wasn't even boozing. I wish I can go back and have a couple beers around the world.
Yeah, drink around the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, final thought. Sam Oshtry, anything for you before we get out of here?
Do we have 2 minutes to give top 10 playoff performers, or should we save it for Monday?
Go. We got 2 minutes. Yeah,
we got 2 minutes. All right, Sean, I'm going to give my list first.
Go for it.
All right, we got Jokic, number 1. These are top. Let's just break it down. Top 10 players I draft for a playoff run right now.
That's what I looked at it as well.
All right, so I got Jokic number 1, Kawhi number 2, Steph 3, Giannis 4. Steph just proved in 2022 with that run. Luka 5, Shea 6, Ant 7, Tatum 8, LeBron 9, and then Jalen Brunson number 10. Just missed the cut are Jimmy Butler and Donovan Mitchell.
Wow. All right. Very different list for me here. Number 1, I went with Kawhi Leonard. Number 2, I went with Nikola Jokic. Number 3, I went with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Wow.
Number 4, Luka Doncic. Number 5, Giannis. Number 6, Jason Tatum. Number 7, Steph Curry. Number 8, Jimmy Butler. Number 9, Donovan Mitchell. And number 10, Cade Cunningham.
We'll break that down a little further on Monday. A few more games to discuss. Sean and I doing picks and roll on Mondays.
Yes, 9:30 in the morning, bright and early. We'll have it for you at 5 o'clock right here on The Gambler as well, getting you caught up for everything that happened in the NFL or NBA playoffs over the weekend. Like I said, I'm off Friday. Much deserved damn vacation for me.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Just get out there and golf a little bit. It's supposed to be a nice sunny day. Looking forward to it, to say the least. All right, final thoughts. Sean Barnard, for you, sir?
Yeah, go Knicks, baby. Let's see. Let's show them why they are ready. That Detroit is back. The bad boys, Detroit. I'm ready to ride tonight. Excited to be all over it on stream.
Live 7 o'clock on stream. Don't miss it. Hey, Swinging and Dinging is next. Speaking of Moose, Mays, and Danielle, and I believe they had the head pro from the Philadelphia Cricket Club. Hashtag Philly Golf. Nobody does it better than Swinging and Ding It. That's coming up next. And once again, NFL draft coverage at 7 p.m. Everybody, good luck on your plays. We'll talk to you.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Dr. Joelle Mogerman, President and CEO of the Philadelphia